Welcome to Three Blind Mike's podcast, sponsored by the Family Proud, Family Strong Network. Follow their journey as John J., the real hot rod, Cletrodamus, and Portis the Assassin deliver the bottom line on the greatest pop culture entertainment debates of then and now. The Three Blind Mikes won't know the topic of the show until the show begins, which surely will lead to an unscripted and uncensored good time. Now, let's go in blind on the road to nowhere. Alrighty, folks, welcome to a special edition of the Three Blind Mikes, entertainment during the holidays. I am your host, John J., the real hot rod, and I said hot rod. And today, my two co-hosts, my brother-in-laws, first, co-host Cletrodamus, the Oracle, who once predicted when the sun set, it will always rise again. How you doing, Cletrodamus?
Oh, very well, Jay, brother. Yes, the Damus is here again with his prognostications that will reign throughout the world as truth, as tomorrow will begin with a sunrise and end with a sunset.
Oh, amen, brother, amen. And the one and only co-host number 2, the assassin, Portis.
Yes. How can I follow that load of crap?
Well, I already got you covered because, folks, Portis the Assassin has Lee Harvey Oswald's Gucci collection of sweaters, the only one. How you doing, brother?
I do like a good sweater, much like Lee Harvey. And did you know that somebody tried to sell the trench coat that he wore on Pawn Stars? That's a true story.
I had not heard this. Portis. What was it going for?
I think the guy was asking for like a couple $100, like maybe close to 1,000. But the guy, I think his name is Rick, he didn't want to buy it because it just had such a. I mean, just it's not the best gift. Like, hey, I got you a trench coat worn by an assassin.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it.
A guy who wears this exact trench coat assassinated the leader of the free world.
Yeah. Right in front of his wife.
And destroyed the hearts of millions and shattered a nation.
But it's a cool looking trench coat.
Yeah, but he had some good taste.
But the infamy surrounding that trench coat, though. I mean, I would say if it's going for 1,000, Portis, I mean that blew me away when you said that. I thought something like that you would have anonymous bidders who would be going 100 grand, 500 grand, even $1 million for something like that.
Yeah,
this just went. Go ahead,
Hot Rod.
Yeah. Just went from entertainment during the holidays to assassinations.
Yeah.
And this is definitely leading you on the road to nowhere.
Absolutely, on the road to nowhere, ladies and gentlemen, or the road to having FBI agents show up at your house at 9:00 tomorrow morning.
Absolutely. So this special edition of Three Blind Mikes, entertainment during the holidays. Now, what we did was we changed it up a little bit, folks, is we each came up with a topic to talk about the world's of entertainment during the holidays. We don't know what the other is going to come up with or whatever. So, I think I want somebody to go first who is deep into the culture of entertainment. And I think that's going to be Portis. Portis, do you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, mine isn't really a cultural touchstone. It's more of, I really love Christmas. It's my favorite holiday.
Yes.
But I have gotten so screwed over the years when it comes to presents, when it comes to just revelry. I remember a few years, this might be 10 years ago, I got my car stuck in a ditch. And I couldn't get out. I totaled out my car Christmas Eve one year. And then we don't even want to get into how many times I got screwed over by not getting any gifts. Like I'm literally underneath the tree going, oh, hey, here you go. And then, oh, hey, this looks good. Here you go, Damus. Oh, here you go. And then I look under the tree, and they're not a damn thing for me.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the?
Wait, there was that one Christmas where you got an entire coal mine. I mean, come on, that's pretty unique and special.
Yeah, a lot of dirty rock fun. I remember, actually, this is also a true story. So I got really like bent over and screwed over the
Just a little bit
sofa one year, and Carrie, your wife, John, my sister, got me remember those posters where you had to like those 3D posters, you had to like stare at it. It was the only gift I got.
That's sad.
I was so pathetic. Like I felt awful. I mean, and I had this poster, and I'm like, damn it, I'm gonna try and find the damn thing. I think it was like the Statue of Liberty was supposed to come out. And like, I'm gonna find this damn Statue of Liberty. I stared at that damn thing for hours, and I could not find it. I'm like, this is great. The only present I've gotten is something I can't even see. It's bulky. It doesn't work.
Oh, so what's your entertainment topic?
My entertainment topic is basically what are some of your least favorite moments in the holiday season?
Oh man! Well, I
Take
don't
a
know if
sip of
anyone.
wine. Take a second.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take a drink here too, because it conjures up the worst.
well, you know what? I'll go first because you know, what what was the topic again?
What is some of your worst memories?
Happy
of
holidays,
Christmas, I
everybody,
guess?
from your very festive brothers at Three Blind Mics.
Yeah.
And that has to do with entertainment. Okay, well,
It's kind of entertaining.
That's what we
Yeah.
do on this podcast,
yeah,
folks.
yeah. Well, you know what?
Love.
One of my least favorite moments is when there was a big debate on whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie or not, and the census said it was not a Christmas movie, which first broke my
Complete
heart.
blasphemy.
It broke my heart. The movie had snow. It had Christmas trees. It had Christmas lights. It had your family feuding.
Without question.
That's not Christmas. Well, what is?
What is? And Jay, brother, Hot Rod, to back up your points here, it's not only is Die Hard a Christmas movie, it's the quintessential Christmas movie. It's more Christmas than White Christmas. It's more Christmas than It's a Wonderful Life, which is a very respectable number 2 on the all-time greatest Christmas movies list. Here are the top 9 reasons why, indeed, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Number 1, it's the parable of a man returning to his family at Christmas.
Yes.
Point number 2. Officer John McClane, the star of our story, his wife is named Holly. Hello. No,
Okay.
reason number 3, Die Hard is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. Please, fellas, it takes place on Christmas Eve, not Thanksgiving, not the 4th of July, not Arbor Day, Christmas Eve. Even ultra villain supreme Hans Gruber has the Christmas spirit in this movie when he specifically says it's Christmas feel, a time for miracles. Reason number 5 why Die Hard is essentially a Christmas movie. Gruber is like Old Man Potter, the Grinch, and every corporate greedy guy in the history of Wall Street, all in one. He's there to steal money. I mean, that's what Christmas villains do on Christmas Eve. The soundtrack is all about Christmas, fellas. From Run DMC's classic "Christmas in Hollis" to Frank Sinatra's "Let It Snow." One of the terrorists in this movie, fellas, is even disguised as Santa Claus.
Yes.
Reason number 8 why Die Hard is a Christmas movie. The film ends with Argyle, our chauffeur, looking forward to New Year's Eve. This is essentially the courageous, inspirational story of a man fighting against immense, impossible odds to get back to his wife and family on Christmas Eve. Ladies and gentlemen, it values family over everything, over materialism. It's the essential, timeless message of Christmas. Die Hard, ladies and gentlemen, is what Christmas is all about.
Yeah. What are we supposed to do with all the dead bodies that are just littered throughout the what's the name of the building? The Yakamoto building or the Takamoto, something like that. Where do you
Nakamoto
put all
Tower.
those bodies? Do you
Yeah,
bury
well,
them on the day after Christmas, or how do you get around that?
yeah. You just kind of leave them there. You got to get to you got to make sure the turkey. You got to make sure the turkey's well dressed. You want to make sure you get the pumpkin pie out of the oven in time. Get
Well,
the
you got to let all the bodies decompress of the kids and everything like that. Just
Oh yeah, that's what December 26th is for. Anybody, guys.
Yeah.
Nobody's working at the
Yeah,
towers on Christmas
yeah,
Day anyway.
yeah.
John and Al, the whole gang. Just leave them there.
You just
And
put them
come
in.
on, these are not. Let's face it, these guys are not getting home to their families for
No,
Christmas Eve.
no.
So they're in no rush. Trust us, they'll be okay.
And you get all the families together and everything to have a second Christmas.
Exactly.
Right, because they're gonna all get together to go to all the funerals.
What with
What is more Christmas than that?
Yeah, exactly. But I tell you what, fellas, every Christmas Eve, like every family in America, I fire up "It's a Wonderful Life." But I hardly recommend to the entire world that if you truly want to know the miracle of Christmas, you will make Die Hard an annual family Christmas Eve viewing tradition in your household as well.
Absolutely. And
you know what? Can I get in on this?
Yeah, get in.
I can't listen to any more of the crap. Sorry, Thomas. I'm going to take the opinion of people who actually were in the film, which is what's the guy's name? I'm blanking on it right now.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Yeah, Bruce Willis actually said it himself that Die Hard is not a Christmas.
Well, if you ask Bruce Willis, he'll just talk the same kind of heresy. He'll say it's a Bruce Willis movie, not a Christmas movie.
Well, he's right.
Yeah, he's in the movie, but technically he's not Bruce Willis. He's John McClane,
Yep.
Officer John McClane, trying to save innocent people, everyone in that tower, including his wife on Christmas Eve.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Okay? Yeah, yippee-ki-yay, brothers and sisters.
Here's the truth. Okay, if you really want to, if you're hanging on for some truth right now, here I'm going to give it to you. Die Hard is a Christmas movie if you want it to be devoid of the guy in the manger. If you want it to be devoid of Christ, then yes, it is a Christmas movie. But if you want it to actually be something that we would like to think Jesus would co-sign, which is no killing. I haven't talked to Jesus in a while, but I'm pretty sure he's against killing.
Amen.
And, I would go with It's a Wonderful Life then, if you're gonna for your viewing.
Okay, and I can't argue with that without question. In terms of the true nature and spirit of Christmas, of what would Jesus do? Love thy neighbor, without question. In all seriousness, folks, Portis the Assassin is 100% right. It's a Wonderful Life is the greatest Christmas film of all time. But I will say,
did we hear that correctly? The assassin is correct.
Is correct on this one point, but hey, even the Washington Generals beat the Globetrotters once. But I will say this without question: you throw the Christ element out of it, and you have for the secular audience out there,
right,
the quintessential Christmas movie, a very quintessential Christmas movie ahead of only its sequel, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, which also is a very underrated Christmas movie that also takes place on Christmas Eve.
Yes. Well, all right. I can't argue with that. It was such a Christmas movie. They actually shot the second one around Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely, and released it on 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about it, though. You look at it from Hollywood's perspective. For in terms of the movies that move us, that truly give us that message of Jesus, the message of Christmas. When it comes to nothing compares to It's a Wonderful Life. But if you're looking at the great secular Christmas movies of all time, things that you're going to, most families are going to fire up with their kids. I mean, you're talking about stuff like Home Alone. You're talking about stuff like exactly A Christmas Story. You're talking about Miracle on 34th Street.
Bad Santa is a great.
Yes. Now, Bad Santa is a great movie, but here's the thing. By your definition, is it a true Christmas movie, or is it just a secular movie about a really dirty Santa who makes his living around Christmas time?
I get. You see, he's turning my logic against me. It's really not fair, but I'm going to say yes because I don't remember John McClane ever donning the. I think he wears a Christmas sweater at some point, but he doesn't. He doesn't don the little whatever that hat is that Santa wears.
Yeah, the old Santa. You know the yeah. What would you call that? It's just it's a very
it's a cone. It's a cone hat.
Yeah.
Without the stuffing.
A Kris Kringle cone hat. Or
Yeah.
something like that.
Well, you know what? No, it looks like remember those bugles, those chips that were called bugles?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bugle hat.
Yeah, but think about it, though. Now you're sitting down with your family on Christmas Eve. Obviously, if you really want to capture that element of Christmas this year, we're gonna go It's a Wonderful Life. But if you want something lighthearted, I mean, let's talk about this. What are some of the quintessential Christmas films of all time? I mean, if you're in the mood for laughs, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation's got to be up there
all time.
Yeah. Without question. I mean, a film that you can quote endlessly on end and not get tired of. Portis, what would be your vote for maybe the most?
I forgot that. I was going to say Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but that's Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a Thanksgiving film. Yeah, it takes place on the weekend lead up.
Home Alone's great. And in fact, in Home Alone, It's a Wonderful Life in French.
See?
Yeah.
I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your no good yellow keister off my property.
Well, here's an underrated here's an underrated show that during the Christmas season that's very underrated and which does get no credit whatsoever is Christmas Charlie Brown.
Yeah, well,
that's a great one. It's
a great one. I think you're right. It gets overlooked, I think, Jay, because it's a Christmas special. And I think also, too, that there's so many Christmas specials. I think it kind of gets lost in that shuffle of, Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the old school classics from when we were growing up. And then for today's kids, I mean, you've got, Olaf's Frozen Adventure, Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol has like 1,000 different Christmases and Hanukkahs and Kwanzas and everything. So it gets lost in the shuffle. It is timeless, but with a great message against, commercialism and the capitalization of Christmas.
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of become lost among the snowballs of all the thousands and thousands of Christmas television specials there every year.
Yeah, and it's just saturated, with the secular and mix it with, all the other, maybe issues, and they, attempt to sneak in, different things. But with Charlie Brown Christmas, come on, man. Charlie Brown still gets jacked on Christmas.
Yeah, he still didn't get to kick the football, right?
He didn't get to kick the football. Lucy I think she was a psychopath. Okay. Charlie Brown, he's just, he gets damaged in every one of those shows.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's not just Christmas, Jay. It's Thanksgiving. It's Halloween.
Yeah.
It's St. Patrick's Day. It's Valentine's Day. He never gets to finds out, did he even find out the name of the redheaded girl that he had the crush on? I mean, but Portis, you've had your bad luck on Christmas Eve, but Charlie Brown is a young man who's never had a lucky day in his life.
Yeah, I guess I can take some solace in that.
Yeah, I mean, what is he? He's 8 years old and he's already bald. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he lost his hair, all the stress and anxiety. Everybody just disrespects him, and I shame the writers for that. There was not one episode that he gets any kind of freedom or any kind of joy. I'm sorry.
But
I would say The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Now, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the one with Boris Karloff, I think.
Oh yeah.
That's a massive.
The 1960s original.
If you're pointing to that horrible, oh my God, is it awful? The Jim Carrey version.
Oh yeah, he was on drugs.
Oh my God, is that horrible?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one. I mean, to call that one as a train wreck is really just disrespectful to train wrecks. It's funny how that didn't click because all the ingredients were there for a classic, guys. It was directed by Ron Howard, the brilliant Academy Award winning mind behind, Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Parenthood, A Splash, all those films. The funniest man on the planet at the time, Jim Carrey. I mean, you're talking about the man who owned the 90s in terms of comedies, from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, to Dumb and Dumber, to The Mask, to Liar Liar. And you've got just the tremendous production design. Universal Studios, I think back in the time of its production and release in the year 2000, spent well over $100 million on it. And it was just, like you said, Portis, there was just nothing pure about it.
It was so forced.
It was so forced.
With the movie. Forced. All the jokes were just like a square peg in a round comedy hole. I mean,
yeah, exactly. And the thing about it is, Dr. Seuss, his wife, just publicly disowned that film, and that film made her very hesitant to a lot, because after that Bond play, she was very hesitant to sell the rights to any of Dr. Seuss's other classic timeless works for years. So yeah, it wasn't until I think Benedict Cumberbatch, the brilliant English actor of stage and screen, Sherlock Holmes, many a great performance. He did a reboot of the 1960s version a few years ago. I thought that was tremendous, called The Grinch, and that really recaptured the spirit of the original. Dr. Seuss's original vision for it. It was funny. It was fast paced.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's tremendous, guys. Max it's a computer animated film. I highly recommend it. It's only like $85.90 minutes.
I will say this: Damas is usually 100% wrong in his film review, but in this one, I think he's right.
Yeah. Well, it's Christmas. It's Christmas, bro. So
everyone gets the gift on Christmas.
Exactly.
But Charlie Brown still gets the short end of the stick.
Absolutely. Well, that's because he's Charlie Brown, Jay.
A little side note: my son Max is named after that little dog that has those big, huge antlers on his head. He's named after.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I always thought it was Mad Max from the Road Warrior, but really, so that.
Oh, that's when that's when it became two. We started thinking that was he is a demon. He's a special spawn of. I'm not going to say Satan, but I'm going to say some like one of Satan's henchmen. When he's going through one of his spazzes, his 2-year-old spazzes, one of his decrepit.
So what are you trying to tell us, bro? Is that my nephew's real father is the Grinch?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just started off with a huge rant about how I get screwed over on the holidays
with a nice sweater,
which we just glossed over, by the way.
See, nobody feels your pain, Portis. Not even on Christmas, nobody feels your pain.
On Christmas.
It's just right. But okay, here's a question though. This is the season for perpetual hope. This is the season of joy, of family. The universal love of each other. What for you? What is your most uplifting? What is your most uplifting Christmas memory of all time, whether it be pop culture wise or personal?
Well, okay. Well, I remember when I was 9 years old. I think I was around 9 years old, and I got up out of bed and I heard all this rattling. It was Christmas Eve night.
Oh, yes.
And I heard all this rattling, and I peek out my door and I see my mama and my dad carrying all these presents down with a bunch of garbage bags, loads and loads and loads. And, usually, at that moment, it would hit Santa Claus is fake. I was so glad that I found out Santa Claus was fake because I thought it was the stupidest thing ever in the world. And I went down that morning and I told my mama and my dada, said, I know you guys bought these presents. You don't have to worry about lying to me anymore. And they were so relieved too. They even got me extra presents. But the most important thing is, that was very uplifting, is I got a Darth Vader lightsaber. It was one of those flashlight ones, tube, and it lit up and everything. And I went around the house for days, just like pretending to just kill a lot of things.
Jay, I am your father.
That's what he said. uh, so yeah, that was my most
Santa Claus
uplifting
is not
moment.
real. Only the dark side can bring you the true meaning and spirit of Christmas, young Jay. Follow me to freedom.
Did you drink a 5 energy hour drink or whatever that is?
I think I need that the dark like choking mechanism right now.
Yeah.
Little choke like
You have failed me for the last time, Commander.
I would say
But you're right though. That's tragic, Jay. When you find that first moment that you realize that the man in red, the man from the North Pole, he might not actually be a real person. That is traumatic, and we fight that. And I think for kids,
excuse me. I think there's some children listening to this broadcast right now. You dumbasses! Like, hello.
Talk about leading people on the road to nowhere. We're leading them to a world on a road where there's no
to the
Santa
truth.
Claus. What are we doing?
Oh, okay, here's I got a really great. I like I said, I started this broadcast off by saying I have been screwed over like big time. Like to the point where I should hate Christmas with a passion. For whatever reason, I don't, because I'm probably usually intoxicated during the whole festivities, which is why I still want to believe. But
Hi, does anybody want some more eggnog?
our mother, me and Damas's mother, got me a Sega Genesis, the 16-bit version. And she got me John Madden Football.
Oh my gosh, that's epic.
I had my friends come over. They went to church, and for whatever reason, I didn't go, and it wasn't an issue. Because usually if I don't go to church, my mother is like condemning me to hell.
What?
But
not,
I
not
was
just
allowed
that. She's
not
calling
to
a
go. I
priest to
think maybe
perform
I'd already
exorcism.
gone. I think I'd already gone to. I'd gone to like the Saturday 5:30 version of Mass, and the Sega Genesis is in like the funny papers. She's taped up all the funny papers, and I opened it up. This is probably a week before Christmas. I opened it up and I took it out, and I think I got about 2 hours here, and I plug it in and play it, and it's great. My friends are over, we're playing it, and it's fantastic. And I'm thinking my folks are going to be home around 11:30, and I think I look out of like nonchalantly out the window at like 11, and my mother is coming in the driveway, and I'm like, oh my god. So I've got to like take the thing, and I've got to quickly from the television. I got to put it in the box. The paper was all in tatters. I somehow got some like Scotch tape and pieced it together and put it back in her bureau before she came in the door. And I don't know how. I mean, it was like maybe like five minutes of just really execution.
MacGyver could work
And
that fast.
it never came up. It's not like she's like, hey, this tape looks a little different than the tape I use. No.
Elves couldn't work that fast.
Yeah. That was probably one of my better Christmas miracles. Yeah.
That is awesome. Here's this is more like a pet peeve. So let me pose this question: when is it too early to play Christmas music?
Ooh, boy, that's a good one. That is.
Let me add on to this a little bit, and I'm not going to give you the time or whatever, but when you look forward to fall, the leaves are turning. It's getting a little chilly. Can have a little bit of campfires. Then you're getting ready, for Halloween, which I can't stand. I hate Halloween. That's a different episode there. And all of a sudden, just about right after Halloween, on the radio, you start to hear "I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas."
Yeah, I know. It's
I'm
But
dreaming of a
get it. But here's the
white
thing,
Christmas
and and it's
with
not even
every
Thanksgiving.
Christmas call I write.
You need to quit drinking that whatever you're drinking.
yeah. Leave it to Bing, Damas.
Okay, but here's the thing. Okay, now I agree with you, Jay, and I don't want to cut you off here too. But when we can talk about jumping the gun early on Christmas, don't get me wrong. Streaming services, radio stations, they fired those bad boys up way too soon. But
24/7.
nobody is worse is when you are walking into a Hobby Lobby or when you are walking into a Lowe's or Target or Walmart. When you're walking into those places on September 1st, 100 days plus out from Christmas, and you got full out Christmas displays up. So
oh my goodness, yeah. It's like, did I lose some time here?
Yeah, the commercialization of Christmas is now a 24/7, 365 day a year enterprise.
You know what? And this is getting off subject too. I'm gonna say this real quick. This stupid blow up air things of the Grinch and Snoopy and all that during Christmas. That is the most stupidest thing that I've ever seen. What I like to do is I like to go around to all the neighbors, not where I live, but and just poke holes in all of them and everything. It's stupid. I mean, it's just stupid. I'm sorry.
Well, I will agree that like Damas said, it seems to start earlier and earlier, and it seems to like just when you thought like I think it starts November 1st around here.
Yeah.
It's like after it's like if I'm Thanksgiving, I'm like, what the hell? Are you serious?
Exactly, and that's where Thanksgiving can become what you were talking about, Hot Rod. The Charlie Brown of holidays, because it's Thanksgiving season, the time of thanks, the time of family,
right?
The time of taking in all that we have, our blessings, and being aware of that. But instead, no, because Target tells us it's the spirit, it's the season of the $49.99 100-inch TV special.
All they want you to do, and here's what this boils down to: is it's about money. They want you to spend the money. And Christmas holiday is one of the biggest spending holidays ever in history. And they get you right after February 14th. They start to sneak it in. You see little blimps of ads in different areas.
You know who's really the culprits here? It's those damn kings. Those damn three kings. We don't even know where the hell they are, from Orient, whatever the hell they are. We don't know where they're from, but they brought those damn presents. Jesus didn't need presents.
Yeah, all we know
he
is
didn't want that.
Gifts. They were bearing gifts traveling afar.
He didn't want any presents. If Jesus would have been, I mean, if you would have been there around the manger, you would have seen good. I don't need that crap. I don't need any frankincense. What the hell is that? And some sorry, I almost cursed it. Some like oils.
But ladies and gentlemen, Portis the Assassin has called his shot. He's right on the money on this. The commercialization of Christmas was born on the night of the birth of our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, and Jesus would have said,
those three kings, without question.
Really. And one of those kings would have said, no, really, we brought the frankincense. I don't need it. I don't want it. And Joseph would have had to come in and go, yeah, really, he doesn't need that. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, call the police or something. Get out.
And let's just be clear. By the time those damn kings got to the manger, Jesus is probably like 9 years old. They've been wandering around the damn desert with this aged-old, nasty frankincense, which is like stinking up the place. And they are the culprit. They are evil.
We're going to hell for this bit, boys.
Oh,
They are evil, those damn
we're gonna
kings.
have to put a rating on this one.
But everybody's going with this. But
I
anyway.
will say this. It does start earlier and earlier.
It does.
Well, yeah. And if you look at it, the Christmas shopping season is such a driving element of the American economy that, there's no turning back, guys. There's no turning back anymore. I do like that we are getting some sanity to the proceedings just a little bit, where most retailers, are closing on. Remember, it used to be Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, like forget Black Friday. These guys were going, these stores were going, 12:01 on Thanksgiving, going all day. So we're getting, I think, with some more and more major retailers, closing for Thanksgiving so their employees can be with their families. I think we're getting a little bit of sanity back in it, but there's no turning back. I mean, this is a runaway freight train of insanity that is just not going to stop. I mean, the commercialization of Christmas, there's no way around it. I mean, it's the predominant thing that people associate the holiday with now.
Yeah.
More than, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So
right.
Well, I will say this. What I do love about Christmas is it doesn't have the baggage that comes with Thanksgiving.
That's true, because Thanksgiving has a lot of baggage.
You're at college.
Some big bags too.
Yeah. If you're at college and you say, "Hey, look, I can't make it home for the holidays." Oh, that's okay, honey. Yeah, we understand. It's the busiest time of the year. You couldn't get a flight, couldn't get a bus. It's good. If you don't come home for Thanksgiving, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like you killed your family.
Yeah.
It's like Thanksgiving has this baggage. And then there's always fights around the table. Like, I don't know why Christmas does not have that. Probably
You're right.
because of the gifts. If there weren't any, I think Christmas would have more fights. Well, because there's this idea that, after dinner, I'm going to go and open up some presents. So I'm not going to. Oh, did you say that you hate everything I stand for? Yeah, okay. I'm good with it.
It used to be back in the day that half American families would have a boxing ring or a wrestling ring, guys, just for those Thanksgiving table fights that kind of get a little heated, have to go into the ring. Well, now these guys we have UFC cages. We go right into the UFC.
The Thanksgiving cage fights.
Exactly.
That's one thing that I will say about the Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, which is one of my favorite films. It's one of Steve Martin's and John Candy. John Candy is fantastic in that.
Without question. He's one of the. I mean, we could do an entire show on how
he was such an underrated. He was such an underrated comedian. But the reason I don't, it's very unrealistic. People are trying to get away from their families at Thanksgiving. Here, Steve Martin is trying to get and spend time with his wife. Who wants to spend time with their family on Thanksgiving?
And the wonderful...
You know why? Because nobody gets presents on Thanksgiving. That's why all the baggage is and all the fights.
But the wonderful swerve of that film is, John Candy, who's been driving Steve Martin crazy through Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh my goodness!
For days on end as he tries to get to his family. The great swerve at the end of the film is you realize that John's character, he doesn't have he's lost his family. And, then you see the perspective, and it's just a great moment for Steve Martin. I think for some of his finest acting, when it dawns on him that this guy that's been annoying him like crazy, there's been this bad penny following him around everywhere, has just been a guy, going through absolute hell without his family, but still is finding the joy in life and still accepting him for who he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's a tremendously underrated film. And like Portis said, the great John Candy, who was so good, guys, in supporting roles. We know him from his supporting work in, movies like Splash, but gosh, was he a comedic genius? Look at his work, guys, in Uncle Buck, or his work, in Rookie of the Year, where he plays the colorful announcer of the Chicago Cubs, or Cool Runnings, where he plays, the Olympic coach who has the crazy idea to believe that, Jamaican track stars could be bobsledders. He's a tremendously great talent we lost far too soon.
And he was really great in JFK.
Oh, without question. Yeah, you want to talk about a transformative
JFK has some
performance.
really great performances in it. It's not a great movie, but
I
John
didn't see
Candy
that.
is really great in it. And
Yeah, you're actually right, Clay. Yeah, it becomes more of an actor's showcase, just because Oliver's taking so many liberties. He leaves the truth train probably about 5 minutes into the film. But yeah, JFK. I mean, if you look at those performances, I mean, gosh, the Academy nominated work of Tommy Lee Jones, Kevin Bacon disappears into a great supporting role there. I mean, you
there's so
could go.
great. Jack Lemmon is in
Yeah,
that.
Jack Lemmon. You could go on and on and on. I mean, literally half of Hollywood's in that film, and it's just tremendous,
Ed
as
Asner is in that too. He's really
yeah.
good in that.
Oh, without question, yeah, and it's really, as we swerve further onto the road, here, folks, to get off the railroad
Nowhere.
tracks. But, this is also coming up, as we've been joking about, the assassination of President Kennedy. Really one of the most traumatic moments in the history of our nation. I mean, you could put it right up there with 9/11.
Yes.
And I think Pearl Harbor, in terms of worst moments of the last 100 years of American history. But the thing about that is we come up on the anniversary of the assassination of the president. That film, I don't know of any film. I mean, there have been controversial films since, Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ, for example, but nothing, I think, that became a cultural phenomenon that there was no middle ground. You either thought it was complete trash, or you thought it was gospel. I mean, what's your take on JFK? As you said, it's not a great film, Portis, but how do you evaluate it here now, over 30 years later?
Well, I think it did kind of usher in the, almost to a fault, that the greatest historians are filmmakers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's where we're at, is that our society at large is kind of learning their history by the films and not the other way around. It's not like they know the subject and now they're looking into it. They're literally almost taking everything that they see on film at face value and going, oh, well, that's what happened. And you're like, no, it didn't happen like that.
They over exaggerate the films.
Yeah, he's using these composite characters, and so like one character represents 5,000 people, or
Right.
That's where Oliver Stone goes wrong. He has this idea that he has the composite character, so he makes a real person do like 5 different things that they never did, like that actual person never did. They never said those words, they never were there, they didn't do that. So but it is a great way to get somebody, like 95% of the population will just go, yeah, next. But there'll be 5% or 2% or whatever will go, hey, let me read this book, or let me look into this, and let me try to enlighten myself. And so that's where filmmaking can really be a benefit.
Yeah, without question. I think especially for our kids' generation, the generation of today, that's getting so much of their news not from traditional news sources, but from online, from social media, from TikTok, from Facebook, from all of these less than credible or well researched or maybe authentic news services. It's just the way they're consuming information, and the way that their history is kind of being told. And you're right, Clay. I mean, I think JFK was really the kind of the start of that. I don't want. I mean, obviously it's sensationalistic. I think Oliver's biggest mistake in that film, guys, is he's got so many different conspiracy theories. He can't settle on one. He's saying, well, is it the CIA? Is it Castro in Cuba? Is it people within his own party? Is it, another mystery assassin on the grassy knoll?
He takes this position that Oswald had absolutely nothing to do with the assassination on any level, which is just categorically, I don't care where you are on any of the issues. And I know Hot Rod sitting there going, what the hell does this have to do with Christmas? Uh, he's like,
You're getting there.
yeah.
We're taking the long road
but
back.
He's involved. He's involved. Let's just put it that way. He's involved. That maybe he's not the lone person that's doing it, but he's involved. Now, if you want to get back to underrated Christmas movies, which JFK is not.
Well, it's definitely not a Christmas.
I'm trying to think of what one of my favorite. Well, in terms of It's a Wonderful Life, 3/4 of the movie have nothing to do with Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And I think
that is
the
true.
movie is the life story of George Bailey leading up to this moment where he's considering taking his life on Christmas Eve, when he's so despondent, when he's lost all hope, when he's lost all faith. It shows you, and what I think the power of that film, the timeless power of this, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Hot Rod, too, is, we're all fathers, but it shows someone who's gone all out his whole life trying to do things the right way, to love thy neighbor, to be that selfless ambassador of Christ, that he's trying to do that in a secular world, and he's lost all hope. And I think that's the power of that. It's that universal message that never give up, and one man can make a great difference, and a man who has friends really is not alone.
Well, what really gets me every year, because we watch that every year.
Yeah.
What really gets me is, when he, towards the end there, where he realizes that he's alive.
Yeah.
He's no longer with what's the
my lips bleed.
Yeah.
My lips bleed.
Just the joy
of
him realizing that he is alive, and he runs home because he has this beautiful family that God gave him.
Yeah, absolutely. Even when he thinks he's going to jail, isn't it wonderful? I'm going to jail.
That was just about what I was going to say, is that all the realities that he was running away from, he comes back to and goes, hey, it's not so bad. I'm going to jail. And there's an issue of $5,000. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. And it's that moment. I think that's that moment of clarity and perspective that we all need, because we all get there. People, anyone I think listening to our podcast you will have those tough days, those days where they doubt themselves, where they question the meaning of it all. And that film, that realization that his fate, he still, whatever he's going through, he still has his family, he still has his friends, he still has this great life. Regardless of all the stress, trauma, and tribulation, that at the end of the day, there's something to keep living for. And it's a universal message that is no more powerful than any day of the year than on Christmas, specifically Christmas Eve.
The irony of that movie is that, one, they shot it in the summer.
Yeah.
And it was so hot that filming, that people were like passing out. They couldn't even film.
Yeah.
The other irony, they didn't release it around the holidays. They released it in the summer. So they didn't fall into that trap of releasing it around the holidays to kind of make a buck and it already like grabbing onto the commercialization of it. And that's one of the reasons why the film failed, because it was really about a great story. They were selling the story, not.
Yeah, well, without question, you're absolutely right, Portis. It's infamous for its time for being a box office bomb. Now, it was nominated for numerous Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director for Frank Capra, and of course, Best Actor for the incomparable Jimmy Stewart. But yeah, as Portis is saying, Hot Rod, this thing was a kind of a fiasco at its time. It was the first starring role back for Jimmy Stewart, who had been gone from American cinemas for 5 years, serving his country in World War II. So, nobody knew. It was really kind of a shot in the dark. I mean, And everyone thought for the first, 10, 15, even 20 years after the release of that film that this was just a bomb. It wasn't a turkey,
It was
but it
a
was just
horrible, like, he didn't believe in himself as an actor. He wasn't sure he could even do the work. And he's
yeah, yeah.
brilliant. He's
Jimmy
absolutely
Stewart?
brilliant.
Yeah.
Probably
Well, and guys, and here's the thing about it. The studio doesn't believe in this movie. After this movie bombs, the studio doesn't even protect its copyright. So what happens is the only reason the rest of the world in our generation, our parents' generation, found out about it is that a lot of local stations across the United States, a lot of PBS stations like that were looking for Christmas programming, particularly Christmas programming that was free, they wouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for. They found it because it was out there in public domain because the copyright had expired. So they start, showing it on Christmas Eve around, Christmas Eve every year. And it gains this cult following where eventually by the 1970s, almost 30 years after its release, it becomes this holiday tradition where millions and millions of families are watching it together on Christmas Eve. And so it's really remarkable how it's gone from, being a box office fiasco to becoming the most revered and admired Christmas film of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite holiday movie. I love it. It bothers me that people don't really love it as much today. Like,
Yeah,
they don't
well,
have marathons anymore. Like, where I remember when we were kids, they would play it like all day.
Yeah.
yeah,
They
it
would
was,
play it,
yeah,
then they play like, and then they colorized it, which I didn't like, but they colorized it, and then
Horrible.
yeah, but they would play it all day.
yeah, 24-hour marathons like a Christmas story.
So they made
Um,
sure that everybody was able to watch it, whatever time zone you were in.
yeah,
Because it was free. They didn't have to
Yeah.
pay for it. They're like, hey, let's play it again.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And, like you were saying, Portis, it doesn't get the credit it deserves today because there's so much other saturation of other things that, that really have nothing to do with Christmas, but they pretend that it is with different shows, different movies, or whatever like that. You know, when you watch It's a Wonderful Life, it's a wholesome, organic movie that it's for any age. But
without question, hot
but
rod,
No,
universal message.
but
again,
but what it
not,
does, but it it gets out competed by all this other, the real secular
yeah,
section of the
yeah,
world with all these different genres of quote unquote Christmas movies or Christmas TV
exactly.
shows, and it,
Exactly.
it kind of pisses me off.
Which brings us back to our earlier point. Evil SOBs like Damus are
What?
putting out this idea that a movie about mass killing is a Christmas film.
No, it's a movie about preventing mass killing, about
Yeah,
saving your
I
fellow
gotta
man and woman
retract. I
on Christmas
retract.
Eve, getting home to your family. Nothing is more Christmas than that.
Yeah.
Yippee ki yay, my brother. I mean, come on, man.
But just be sure to like step around that blood because that's evidence.
Yeah. Hey, Lethal Weapon that was a Christmas
Yeah,
movie.
Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie. Some of the
Well,
greatest action films of
one
all
of my
time
favorites is also Bells of St.
take
Mary.
place on Christmas. Oh
Uh,
yeah, Bells of St. Mary's.
Bells of
Bing
St. Mary,
Crosby.
Ingrid Bergman, she's great. And
Mhm.
somehow they got Bing Crosby to sober up and do that movie. Good.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Modern Christmas classics. I mean, let's talk about stuff 21st century and beyond. I tell you what, one out there, that it's, obviously it's not going to be, a 5-star, Christmas standard
Here
that's
it
going to be up
comes.
there with Scrooge. I tell you what, I got a lot of love for Vince Vaughn's Fred Claus. Where he plays the long lost selfish brother of Santa who has to take over when Santa gets a really, really bad case of the flu on
Oh,
Christmas Eve. Stuff like that. It's zany, it's funny, it's got a lot of heart in it, and more than anything else, a great Christmas movie like Die Hard is defined by heart. And for me, Fred Claus has got it. But gentlemen, when we talk about the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of faith in your fellow man, of loving thy neighbor, of doing as Jesus would do. Nothing says it more than being with you here on this very special Christmas edition of Three Blind Mics, taking our listeners on the road to nowhere.
You see how he tried to like slip that in there?
Yeah. Now I'm gonna cry.
Nice pandering. That's great.
Hey, guys, we got sponsors. We got to pay bills too. Okay,
That's
we all got families to feed here.
I will say, out of all the holidays, Christmas is my favorite. I would say my least favorite is probably Halloween.
What was that?
I would say my least favorite is probably Halloween. Although I do remember January 1st is probably one of my least favorites too. New Year's Eve.
Yes.
I have tried kissing several young ladies at the drop of the ball dropping, and either getting it in there and going, hey, or just the stiff arm, like the Heisman, like, yeah, I'm good now.
Now, for our listeners who might not know, Portis the Assassin lived for 9 years in New York City. Portis, did you ever venture the craziness and the madness of the New Year's Eve countdown, in Times Square?
And you know what? I never did that. And I'm glad I didn't, because I've heard horror stories of just it being like blocks and blocks of just urine.
Yeah. So
urine
here's
everywhere.
And here's the thing about it. Exactly. Absolutely. Now, for people who don't know what Portis is talking about, there are no bathrooms. These people are lining up at like 6 a.m. so they can get a spot in what's is called the camera zone. Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you cannot leave your spot. You are literally stuck in there like a sardine in a can.
That's stupid.
No food, no nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it looks like how you would celebrate Christmas in Russia. I mean, communist Russia.
That looks like how you would celebrate the New Year's in like a concentration camp.
Or no, how do you celebrate it in hell? Because what could be appealing of that? You're out here freezing and you've got to be waving constantly nonstop for the ABC, for Dick Clark, Ryan Seacrest, and the ABC News cameras. You can't go anywhere. You can't go eat anything.
Well, here's the thing too: is where's the drinks?
Exactly. There's no drink. You can't even
no drink.
You can't even do a toast.
And then, but you're missing a really important element, Damas, and that is, it is a bit humbling to watch Ryan Seacrest like walking around urine, and Mariah Carey having to dodge
like a headline,
big puddles of urine while she gets into her limousine. Because I've heard, like, I've never done it, but I've heard people have done it, and just talk about there being no bathrooms and just people pissing and using like anything as a receptacle for a hey, that poinsettia over there? It's not a poinsettia. It's a urinal.
You went to Times Square for New Year's Eve. You ended up in an episode of Jack.
Who thought that urine could bring everyone together?
And it's Happy New Year, everybody.
Oh my goodness! All right, folks.
9, 8. Wait, what is that? What did I just step in?
Gentlemen, it's been an honor and a privilege to all of our listeners, to you, my great brothers. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us on this very special and very crazy holiday edition of Three Blind Mics and the Road to Nowhere.
Mother.
And we will see you next on the Road to Nowhere.
The Three Blind Mics is sponsored by the Family Proud, Family Strong Network via YouTube and powered by the Digital Media Productions.